Hi and welcome. My name is John Scott. At least that's what my parents named me. I am called the spiritual leader of First Unity Spiritual Campus, founder of One Love Consciousness Movement. It's an honor to be here in this space with all of you in this present moment. And we just welcome you into this conversation. There are two beautiful people. I have had the opportunity over the years to meet so many wonderful lights and really, truly genuine, authentic souls. And these two are a couple of those who have come across my path. It's an honor to journey with them. It's an honor to hear about their journey. And as they share their journey with you and the vision for the project that they are spearheading and guiding, although they're not trying to control it. It's interesting when people have a vision for something and they have no agenda to control something. That's high level consciousness there. But they are guiding it and they are, attending it kind of like gardeners as they watch over the garden of the seeds they've sown and they're nurturing it to watch it come to full fruition. We're going to talk with them about where they've been, who they've been, and where they are, and who they are currently, and their vision for how this is going to unfold. The name of the organization is Conscious Cause. Even the name of the organization tells us a lot about who these two individuals are. So, Shannon, Kristen, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a blessing to be here.
So we've broken bread together. We've talked together. You guys have been to First Unity 100 times or more. You always bring a beautiful energy with you. You come into the space with a desire to really make conscious contact with your true and authentic self. You share that in your attitude, your vibration. It's not just words, it's felt. I wanted to spend a little time with you and share you with our audience, whoever they may be, in the One Love ether and the First Unity world, and just share your goals, your visions, and share a little bit about yourselves. So, whoever wants to start, maybe share your journey so far in this human experience and where you've been and kind of where you are now.
Thank you, John. We feel blessed and grateful to be here and to be able to share this with you and the community. This is what it's all about. And, I loved how you opened up with talking about non-attachment, right? So non-attachment to the outcome, non-attachment to the past. And we share this journey to inspire others, right? Because you're not alone. And it doesn't define us, but it certainly makes us who we are today, and the gifts and the passion and the purpose of why we're here and what we've created. Do you want me to start?
Sure, yeah.
So I'll just jump right in. My journey started off as a scared little boy. My parents, as a youngster, went through a hard divorce. My mom ended up moving, and when I was right in my prime of that 11, 12, 13-year-old age, moved and got remarried. And I was confused and upset and angry, and did not know how to express that, share that, or be in any kind of awareness of what was going on. And all I knew was that I needed to be either more scarier or try to fit in or be cool. And by doing so, I coped with alcohol and drugs at a very early age. And that was kind of the cool thing to do from a small little town where I was like, sneak your parents' drinks and show your classmates, your peers that like you're cool and you're drinking, and then at the same time, I was getting surrounded and kind of jumped as a scared little boy, and in doing so, I became even more scary, and by being more scary, I became an elite athlete,
Mm.
and on the football field, and I found that that was a way to channel my anger.
There
So
you
here I
go.
am now in sixth and seventh grade. I'm out there, destroying people on a football field as a linebacker and fullback. And I also was out there, sneaking around and partying and drinking to be cool.
Being cool.
And being cool, man. That was me trying to be cool.
Sure.
And so, by seventh grade, I'm suspended for bringing alcohol to school. By eighth grade, I'm stealing cars, high-speed chase, my first DUI out of six DUIs. And then, as an elite athlete, from the outside looking in, everything was perfect, you know. And at the same time, I was internally suffering,
Mm.
suffering in a big way. And that's the devastation piece of this, was that I went through this for 30 years in this state where I was in this state of suffering. Um, and so through high school, in that space that I was in, and the experience I was creating, that everything is okay, and I'm doing very well in all aspects of my life. Um, I the pattern started getting kicked out of concerts, getting arrested, another dealing drugs. But the thing is that half of my teachers were my coaches, and half of the town had an article written on me and my brother called Hunt Country. This is my last name is Hunt in Virginia. So they made that tagline Hunt Country. So we were in the spotlight and the limelight as youngsters, and we could kind of do whatever we wanted. So it's like everything was hidden if there was trouble or an issue, and we were able to get away with a lot. And by my senior year, on my first recruiting visit to a beautiful school, JMU, James Madison University, I got my second DUI partying with the football players. And the next morning I get up and I leave, um, and I guess I still had alcohol in my breath, and I get pulled over, and here I am. Got my second DUI before I'm out of high school. So then, I fortunately was offered to go play football at Virginia Tech. And, that was also, so you get from the middle school, right, scared and moved and parents, and then you go to high school, the freshmen scared,
Right.
and so it's like then I've expanded in every aspect of the toxic world. Like the drinking gets heavier, the drug dealing gets bigger, the anger gets bigger, the emotions start to really start getting tapped in and buried with these toxic and wounded ways of living. And this comes from conditioning, from watching your family and your friends and society,
Mm.
the way that they cope and the way that they just interact is through alcohol, right? And it's like, you drink when you're happy, and you drink when you're sad, and you drink when you get a promotion, and you drink when you get a scholarship, and you drink, that's how the pattern goes. And I always say is that, the way that we celebrate is what we repeat.
Mm.
Right. So if I'm Christmas and holidays and birthday parties and things like that. If the way that we celebrate was by drinking, that was the pattern I repeated.
Mm.
And so by college, I lasted about 2 years before I lost that to alcohol and drugs. And by the end of my college career, by the grace of God, I graduated. I was already on the FBI's wanted list, involved with stolen car rings, dealing massive amounts of drugs. And then I get out, and I actually landed into a decent corporate job. And the corporate job worked well for me because I was in sales.
Mm.
And I was working with the Fortune 500, and they put me right in with these big companies where they just wanted me to entertain. So that's what I was good at. I was good at
Yeah.
socializing And they just wanted to go to Vegas, go to a strip joint, do some cocaine, and sign contracts. It was perfect for me, right?
It's the life, right? It's at least the life we see in TV and in music and everywhere else. It's the life.
That's the life. And
Mm,
at the end of the day, the cocaine turns to meth. I lose everything, and by then I'm dealing with the cartels and the mafias and the most notorious biker gangs you can think of in the world, and landed me on the streets in a meth addiction for another 2 decades.
mm,
Um, and about 5.5 years ago, I was locked up and in jail, and another time in jail, and had 2 seizures coming off of alcohol and drugs, a couple of ODs. The Hell's Angels had a bounty after me. My business partner just got shot. I was 150 pounds at the most, soaking wet. You can see my chest bones, and I was drinking a bottle of vodka a day and doing as much meth as you could possibly put in your body, and killing myself as slowly as possible.
mm,
I was on the road path of trying to kill myself at that point, with alcohol and drugs. Fortunately, it ended me up in the hospital, which ended me up into a detox center, which I had my awakening.
mm,
And my awakening was like, I need more help. And to be honest with you, with that 30 years of this death-defying addiction I was in, I really never really tried to get sober, right? I just tried to get a little more healthier to see if I could, like, it's like all I did was try to get more healthier to, I guess, so I could drink more.
mm.
It's like, okay, so I just need to go and just run more, right? And just sweat this out of me more and go into a sauna where it might be. And then eventually the chains come off, and right. And you land, you're so deep in it, and you're so scared, and you don't know what to do, and you've dug yourself such a big hole. You've isolated from your family and friends.
Mhm,
I didn't
mhm.
talk to my parents for years.
Yeah.
It was as bad as you get. And so again, that awakening time of that in the detox center, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna go into this inpatient program and see what I can get out of it. And I got a little more clarity from the hospital and into the detox center. That was probably at least a good 3 weeks of sobriety. I've never had that in 30 years since I was in sixth grade.
Wow.
Right. So, and no matter what, I was binging on the weekends, even if though I had a few days off, right? And that was just a recover.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the point of where you're doing so many hardcore drugs, the only time that you're sleeping is if you nod out and pass out. So I was only sleeping maybe 4, 5, 6 times a month,
Mm.
right? Oh yeah. You're talking about now getting into all the mental health issues, right? I had the bipolars, the schizos,
All of that.
the anxiety, stress, worry, fear, all tapped in with alcohol and drugs. I mean, so it's just burying that and destroying your nervous system. So I committed myself to a full year of sobriety.
Awesome.
Um, so I went to two inpatient programs, two outpatient programs, and several sober living houses. And along the way, I realized through my awakening that these old, outdated recovery centers keep you stuck in your addiction. And I was like, why did I go from 150 pounds to 250 pounds in 3 months, shoving corn dogs down my throat and French fries? And this is that sick, fat, and stupid mentality, right?
Yeah.
It's like they just give you this coping skill and a Xanax and on your way,
Yeah. So you're
right?
essentially transferring your addiction. And that doesn't just happen with food. It also happens with religion, where some people will transfer that addiction to a really strict religious regimen. And it's really not healing the addiction as much as it is you just have a different drug.
Comment on that. And at the end of the day, I would say that my wellness became a new addiction. But I didn't notice that something until I met this one of my mentors, that I wasn't doing the inner core work,
Mm.
right? Still evolving, especially in this high divine conscious relationship right now. Is that like you thought that you were? It's like peeling back the layers of the onion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And people just all experiences show you exactly where you are within, right? And your inner world, your outer world reflects your inner world. And so some
Mm.
experiences are harder than others. So along the way, I was just like, wait a minute, this isn't making sense. Everybody's relapsing, everybody keeps coming back. This is a vicious cycle. I'm like, oh, the recovery centers are big business. We're big business. So they get us sober enough to relapse again,
Mhm.
right? So I just started noticing this, and then I was like, I was praying for a better way. This is where I started understanding the law of attraction and manifestation, right?
Yes.
Especially through the power of prayer.
Yeah.
And I went back to the gym and I see this poster. It says Scotty King, International Retreat Leader, yoga, breath work, inner core healing, meditation, trauma informed addiction specialist. And I'm like, whoa, what's yoga and all this stuff, right? I'm starting to kind of understand the spiritual realm a little bit of this whole entire journey. And so this guy taps me on my shoulder, I look back, I'm the pic. I was like, oh, that's you. He's like, yeah. I said, come to one of my workshops. So going to these workshops, I start doing this thing. I'm telling about the clouds part and the chains and shackles come off, and I feel like a new man. I've been given these new wings to fly, and I'm like, I'm all in. Because before I was like, this sucks. I'm miserable.
Yeah.
I'm fat, overweight. I'm miserable right now. Why it's called a dry drunk, right? So you're just now still in that same
Mm.
addictive behaviors and patterns, but you're just sober now, right? And I jumped all in, and over the course of a year, COVID hits. He couldn't go international. I needed a place to live. I move in with him, and I just sit there for a year and a half, and he just basically review like I'm his like he just teaches me everything,
Yeah.
right? So this is, I mean, the most beautiful opportunity here. I'm now again understanding the law of attraction through prayer, a better way. So like, show me my dharma, create my own path. What is it? How can I give back and be in service? So I learned all of these all this ancient wisdom and practices and techniques, yoga philosophies, and now we start to deep dive into this inner core healing. And that's what you call shadow work or root cause,
Yeah.
right? And it's generational, right? It's there's all kinds of way to look. There's contracts that I've understand that I've learned that I signed along the way that I had to go through what I had to go through to get to where I am today to give back.
Yeah. And
And
karmic debt, things like that
yeah,
that you don't really
yeah.
hear about in traditional Christianity, Judaism, or in Islam. You don't really hear as much about that ongoing sort of soul tie to karmic debt. And you start to understand it that there's a broader, more expansive way to see God, to see spirit, to see yourself in God and in spirit, and God and spirit in you. I love that. But I assume too that along the way you have also been able to see that any modality can be another addiction. Any modality can just become another way to distract yourself from really making conscious contact with the truth of who you are. They're always doorways, but they're not the whole story. That it is really about rising and empowering and unfolding as our true and authentic self. So I love that progression. So you experience the detox, you experience the residential programs, which program is probably the right word for it because there's just another layer of programming. When the whole time it was not necessary to program, it was necessary to deprogram. Our biggest issue, I think, is beings is the layers that have been put on us. And when we allow ourselves to really come into a full awakening, we start realizing that the true you is there. It's just covered up by layers of concepts and ideas. And we've been conned out of our greatest life through all of these concepts. And when you start to wrap an identity around your hurt, your trauma, your pain, you'll never be free from it. It's be able to detach from the identities that we've taken on. So Shannon, that's a wonderful story. It brings you to the work you're doing now. Kristen, tell us a little bit about you and then you guys, because you're to watch your love for each other is beautiful. And I recognize the individuality that you have, which is beautiful also, but you're as a couple, how beautiful it is to watch you two, the way you love each other. But Kristen, share with us real quick about the parts about your journey that bring you to conscious cause.
Yeah, yeah, I'll just share real quick on that note about our union. Uh, we we always knew from the beginning that there was like that we were united for immediately we knew we're like, whoa, there's something bigger than both of us that is to be birthed. And we didn't know what, we didn't know why, we didn't need to know any of that, but we just felt something that yeah, we were united for something special. And yeah, so
Couple yoga, because the word yoga means union, right? So it's couple yoga.
right? Yeah. Well, and what's funny is he shared about his mentor, Scotty King, and Scotty and I have had very similar paths in terms of our studies, like the trauma-informed Kundalini yoga, breath work, all of these things. And it was really interesting. When I learned about Scotty, I was like, I gotta meet him. I love him. And so yeah, to kind of recognize our vibrational match and the journeys we've been on individually and what we had both gone through and studied and learned to like evolve. And yeah, so my journey, it's I haven't shared it in quite a while, but just to kind of sum it up, yeah, I think I was going through most of my life, pretty pretty much asleep, just in the programming, in the autopilot. I lived the kind of that societal norm life on the outside. I was a triathlete. I was on the honor roll. I was a good girl. I did all the things I was supposed to do. Um, and and then I basically I went to college on a soccer scholarship. We both were collegiate athletes. And I going through life, I feel like looking back, I was there was a lot of dissociation. There was a lot of just kind of going through the motions and not really like consciously creating my life. And even back then, I didn't even know that phrase to even recognize that I wasn't there. And and it took there was a period where I was recognizing that the things I was doing in my life weren't really what I wanted to be doing, but I just didn't know another way. I didn't know the resources, right, to support me making a shift. I was
Yeah.
like, this is what I know, this is who I'm around, and yeah, I just didn't really pursue anything to figure out how to get out of it.
So this is the weird
And
part. This is the weird part of me. So I'm totally interrupting you here. But as you're saying that, you know what I'm hearing playing in my head? The Elvis song, "We're Caught in a Trap. I Can't Walk Out Because I Love You Too Much, Baby." Suspicious Minds. I don't know why I was hearing that in my head, but that's where so many people I think find themselves is that, oh, well, I don't know that there's anything else I can do. Damn, this is just the way life is. I know it feels like it could be more expanded, but this is all I know. And so that you're on that loop, it's the hamster wheel. It's the programming. So sorry to interrupt, but I totally did.
hamster wheel. No, I love it. I love the song references. Uh, yeah, that's exactly it. The hamster wheel. I was just on it, And then I kind of realized it's to some level that like that I was maybe on this hamster wheel, but just yeah, like I remember at one point thinking like, oh, this isn't is this it? Is this all like, there's got to be something more. This isn't what I want to be doing with my life. But it was like, oh, if I go back and start over, it's like, oh, I've come this far. Now then
Mm.
it's too much effort to like go back. And then like after like 10 years, there probably went by where I was having those thoughts. And I'm like, if you had made a different choice 10 years ago, you'd be 10 years on that new direction.
Mm.
And so I always share with people like that little voice, that little something that's speaking to you, like it usually doesn't go away. And that's usually the truth.
Yeah, so true.
And it took me a long time to realize that and to like realize what that voice was and that was my authenticity, deep down in there, crying for me to see it, feel it, connect with it. And I just was like, no, no, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to go here, I'm supposed to do that. And Um, so yeah. So a lot of shoulds and supposed tos. And so yeah, so ultimately, if I feel that um there's a that calling will find a way to speak to you. And so now I'm so tuned to the subtle signs, the communications from God, from source, that I'm co-creating with, right?
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
so tuned to these subtleties, but at the time I was not at all. And so the universe, God had to, kind of come out and pull the rug out from under me and give me a little bitch slap across the face to get my attention because I was like, no, 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 this way. And so now I love that I get to attune to the subtle communications. So um ideally, I don't need to get those big notifications, but hey, maybe I do, and I'm not in control, and so I'm open to those big ones too. But yeah, so I was basically in this life that just was on autopilot, wasn't really mine, wasn't in alignment, and maybe had some awareness of it, but uh, it took this profound experience of a physical and sexual assault
Mm.
that really had to wake me up when I thought that I had someone staring at me telling me that they were going to kill me, and I thought I had taken my last breath.
Mm.
Um, Everything shifted. And people share like, oh, your life flashes before you when you face death. And for me, it was kind of I that kind of happened. And it was like I had this moment of like, I'm not ready to die. Like, whose life is this? Like, what is this? Like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, that's my life. Oh, great, 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 cool. I'm ready. Like it was chaotic. It was like it wasn't something that it just illuminated to me that that I was not I was not in alignment with my truth, with who I came here to be. And so I ultimately survived that experience and clearly and I was it was right before my 35th birthday. And I remember I had a moment where I wanted to curl up into a ball and kind of be a victim, like, why is this happening to me?
Sure.
And and I just wanted to sulk. And sometimes we need to do that. Then I'm not shaming that at all. But in that moment, I also had something come into my field that asked that same question. Why is this happening to me? And my heart opened, and it was this curiosity and this feeling of like, I deserve good.
Mm.
I'm here to feel good. And I was like, why is this happening to me? And that little difference of the frequency within me and something, and I didn't even know this language. I didn't even know how to describe it in this way back then. But at that time, something sparked in me that, and I just moved in that direction of like, why is this happening with that curiosity? And I just never really looked back. And it really what 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 started as this profound healing journey really developed into this deeper journey into the self that I never even knew was available to me until I had something so significant to heal.
Mm.
Um, and then in that, um, I dove into healing these things, and in that exploration, I had suppressed memories of some trauma and abuse, and that arose when I finally slowed down and created a support system to explore what had happened. And so I was able to dive deep into these other experiences that were so traumatic. They had been hidden from me.
Mm.
Um, and and so really I got to go on this beautiful healing journey, and one thing evolved into another, and it became this beautiful exploration. And I'm really grateful. Some of these horrific experiences, I'm able to look back now and see them as a catalyst
Yes.
for this new way of living, feeling connected, and getting to create moment to moment. And so I'm able to look back now and actually be thankful for these experiences. And I wasn't there right away, and sometimes things take time, but now I really am. And so now with the challenges, that we face now, I'm like, okay, what are we being called to create here? And so we'll get to that in a minute, but real quick about our union. Yeah, so I had during my journey, I had ultimately ended up moving over to Costa Rica at one point, and I was exploring yoga, meditation, breath work, and I started working with plant medicines, and so I was in Costa Rica, and I connected with a beautiful medicine community. It's really about the music and praising, devotional singing, praising God, praising Mother Nature,
Hmm.
and praising unity and connection and oneness, and just infusing that into our field. And so I was on this journey of exploration and healing, and someone had asked me to come to Florida and do some work with them, support them on their path. And something opened up afterwards, and I got a message that I was to stay in Sarasota. I didn't know why, what, who, nothing else. And I whined a little bit because I was really excited to be in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And I said, "What? What are you saying? I have to stay here?"
What you
But
mean?
I had, yeah, no, but that's that co-creation, right? I was like, okay, I thought I was there, but hey, I'm listening. And so I stayed here, and I actually was kind of coming back and forth between Peru and Costa Rica, but showing that I was listening. And Shannon and I ultimately met through the spiritual community here in Florida. Come to realize we're both actually from neighboring towns in Virginia. Weird synchronicities. Our dads are both named Michael Joseph, and they both have all the same advanced master's, doctorate degrees in psychology and education. Our mothers were both in neighboring school districts for like 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we were both athletes. I mean, we had similar transformation journeys, finding God, finding our faith, and reconnecting with ourselves,
Mm.
and being on this path of self-discovery, and then stepping into sharing it with the world, and really learning how we can be in service, learning how we can take that spark that was ignited within us and illuminate and just create that ripple effect to anyone else that's out there feeling that way, in that place of why is this happening to me, and they want to go one way or the other. If we can support someone in that space in any way to see the light, that's what we're here to do. So
That's awesome. Kristen, thank you for sharing that and that very personal
yeah.
story. What I felt I was hearing and you were talking about the moment of being in the fetal position, you just wanted to curl up, was that your near fatal position led you to a
Mm,
new fetal position, which caused a
yeah.
rebirth and a new life. And
Oh yeah.
that in our lives, not everybody gets to see that, right? And so I think your hope, both of you, your hope and desire is to be able to step into those spaces where people are maybe perhaps already in that fetal position, or they're in the process of trying to be reborn. And so you get to practice sort of as a midwife, both of you, because Shannon, I know you well enough to know that you've also connected with that divine feminine that's within you, not just the divine masculine. And it invites us into understanding what midwifery really is in terms of our spiritual pathways. You both have pastoral hearts. And what I mean by that is the word pastor is pa-aster, which means one who gazes into the astral plane or at the stars. And so you guys have been willing to see the stars, to see the light as it shines for you, and to then find a way to become reflections of the light. Just the other day, I was walking through our living room, dining room area, which is just one open space, and all of the lights were off in the house, and our back door here is just one big glass door, right? So, just natural light comes in. But I looked up at the ceiling and there was just this light show going on. And I'm like, well, there's no mushrooms in my tea. What's happening here? There's a light show happening, right? And I look out and I see that from the pool in the backyard, light is reflecting off of the pool and onto the ceiling inside of the house, penetrating through the window. And I had this moment where I was like, okay, so the sun is shining, but the sun is not the producer of the light, it's the conduit. The light comes from source to the sun. The sun shines all the way light years away into this one body of water in the backyard, and it lights up my kitchen. And I got to thinking about us being lights like that. We know the source of light is God. We've used the term God, which the word God has baggage for a lot of people. And one of the reasons, folks, just so you know, that we use the term source quite often is because honestly, we have no definition for this entity, this beingness, this energetic presence that we've called God. So if the word God triggers you, I completely understand, believe me. So we'll just say source. Source is always providing light on our pathways. And really, it's asking us to become a reflection. We're 75% water, to become reflection like the water, so that we can shine into spaces we don't even know about. The pool didn't sell tickets for the light show. It just wanted to be the light. It wasn't about products or producing some kind of a thing so that it could be known. It humbly laid there and allowed itself to be a reflection. I see you guys doing that so much. And I want to say thank you for that. With all of that being said, you launched this organization, for lack of better terms, this movement called Conscious Cause. You've chosen to be conscious beings, and you're not just conscious beings without a cause. You know, the old saying, rebel without a cause. You guys are not just conscious beings without a cause. You have a cause. And what you've really done, I think, is kind of like the flashlight. It's tubular, right? And you press a button and it shines. But it's concentrating the light as you become lamps unto other people's feet and lights unto their pathway, that you are carrying on the work of God. And you face some challenges in recent days in terms of brick and mortar. But because you know this call, this movement is not brick and mortar, and it's not dependent on a particular outcome, you guys have not only survived it, but you're really learning another level of thriving through it. Not only did the storms that came through, because folks who don't know, Sarasota, St. Pete, Tampa Bay, this whole area really got shellacked, for lack of better terms, by a couple of really interesting storms that were storms that people who've lived here 50 years told me they have not seen anything like this in their entire life. We know that the planet is asking us to pay attention. And Mother Nature is maybe not bitch slapping us, but certainly saying, hey, wake up. What's your deal? And in the midst of this, it can cause some challenges. You were actually building. You had already spent thousands of dollars on bringing your modalities into a space, only to find that all of a sudden that the rent goes through the roof, and we want to do this now, and you don't know the motivation, but the experience on your side is not that great. It doesn't feel very good. And all of a sudden you're having to shift in the midst of a storm. The storms that you're trying to clean up after a storm, help your neighbors. I saw you guys, all the work you were doing for all of the folks in your area, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what's next for Conscious Cause? And then you got offered another space, and I know I'm really summating this. This is oversimplifying the experience. This was an opportunity for trauma and drama, but you both have walked through it with such grace. And now here you are in another space. I got a chance to visit, go play a little guitar and hang out. I got a chance to experience that seat, that sitting thing, where you're vibrating, your whole body's vibrating while the music's playing. You'll have to explain to us what that is, or folks can look up your website. But it's wonderful modalities, everything from polar plunge therapy to yoga to breathing and breath work. You guys have those energy tables for re-energizing your body and your mind and spirit. There's so many different modalities that you've made available. And then you find out in the midst of this wonderful political climate that you kind of get caught in the crossfire of some craziness. And here you are still sitting here without bullet wounds. Even though you were caught in the crossfire, there's this protection around you. But with that being said, let me rephrase, not but, because that negates the previous. At the same time, we also know that it's important for you to have a space where you can carry out this vision. And this is the second time you've been displaced, for lack of better terms, which gives you, I'm sure, a much deeper understanding for those who are feeling displaced. And also, it's really now trying to navigate what is next. And you guys have poured your monies, you've poured your time, the blood, sweat, and the tears, and all of the breath work into this process. And now we're looking at what's next. And this is not just a fundraising live stream, just so you know. It's not that. It's not to pull on heartstrings to try to make you feel guilty. It's not. But it is asking, is there somebody out there who sees the value in truly healing modalities that don't just cut the check engine light and send you on your way, but actually works on the transmission, actually works on the motor, actually works on the distributor cap, actually works on the things that make you able to move through life? Shannon and Kristen are doing that. This is not fake stuff. This is not, and I'm not dogging our sick care system. Oh, was I supposed to call it a healthcare system? My bad. I'm not dogging our doctors and nurses. They've been trained to do what they do, and most of them have great motivations. With that being said, though, we have a system in the United States that actually depends on people remaining sick, scared, and in some ways living in fight, flight, and faint. Shannon and Kristen want to provide a pathway for people to no longer live in fight, flight, or faint, or freeze. So you guys tell us how we can make contact with Conscious Cause, and tell us what we can do to give you the fuel for your vehicle. You've built the vehicle. Now, how can we gas it up?
Yeah, thanks, John. You hit all the boxes, and it was well said. So thank you very much. We're just a living and walking testimony to what's possible, right?
Yes.
I'm just the guy down the street who did the daggone thing, and I'm sharing the good news, right? And in our union, we came together and we said, how can we be in service? How can we give back? How can we share the good news and help other people? So we created a nonprofit called Conscious Cause.
Yes.
And Conscious Cause became Wellness with a Mission, right? And Wellness with a Mission is the outreach portion of it was to actually help people holistically with addiction, trauma, PTSD. Now, some of the brick and mortar now going digital pieces of this is going to help anybody from the veteran to we're finding out brilliant, like it's really helping like autism, people with autism and with syndrome, and just the mother down the street that's overwhelmed, stressed out with the 3 kids, and also finding out that this is also a family gathering, family wellness where they can come in and do healthy activities together, right? Or the mom needs to come in, or just the kids need to come in, right? So we're really like this thing is expanding beyond our comprehension of the people that it's impacting and helping. And what we're really striving for here is health ownership. What we call 5D healthcare, right? So and the health ownership is that we inspire people to take their own health into their own hands, and we've created a safe space for that. So our foundation is built, and Kristen brings a lot of this in, is the ancient wisdom, the ancient wisdom and practices. That's kind of our foundation: the breath work, the meditation, the yogas, also the plant
Plant
medicines.
medicine technology. Yes.
And she likes to call earth wisdom sacraments, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that doesn't have to do really all with psychedelics, which is a small portion of things
Yeah.
we do. We worked with microdosing mentorships, and she is living in Costa Rica with on a retreat center there, and running that. So at the same time, we are making a global impact, right? So. I went in and I started learning about this modern day technology. Some people like to word some of it's biohacking. That term doesn't really resonate really with us, but we use modern technology that implements or imitates the elements, earth frequencies, things like that. So we invite and unite that ancient and modern day technology, right? So we are able to take these things, and it makes each one of them more effective. So we utilize such things like PMF mats, which emulate the Earth's frequencies to give the body needs to heal itself. Vibro, acoustic sound beds, sound meditation cushions. So we're utilizing sound and vibration. We're utilizing frequency and light. So full spectrum saunas, infrared lights, and cold water, contrast therapies. And then obviously, that increases the availability and expansion within the body, because all we're doing is about nourishing the nervous system. This is 100% about the nervous system, because it's really hard to make a shift and change and bring awareness into things that need to be worked on when you're in a state of go, 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 do, overwhelmed. Right. So that's what we're really, really focused on, is the nourishment of the nervous system, slowing down, and just really coming into that safe space and realizing things like the Aquarian age that is here now is about the feminine energy.
Yes.
So a lot of people are still in that like push through, go through, mentality as of fighting the current, because the current is slow and soft and steady and feminine. So if you join that current, you can now manifest, co-create, and thrive in full abundance, because we got everything you need with ease and growth.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love the invite to unite ancient wisdom and even modern technology. And the ancient wisdom portion is vitally important. This planet, it loves us. It doesn't want to be at enmity with us. It doesn't want to be fighting against us. Mother Nature loves us. We have just gotten distracted away from really communing with the natural flow. Our bodies are amazing mechanisms, but supporting them to heal themselves is where it sounds like you guys are. And I am so grateful that you're in my life and grateful that you're in the world. So, how can people right now locate you online? Speaking of technology and modern, there's a website I know. Are you guys GoFundMe? Are you utilizing donation through your website? What is the process that people can go through at the moment to bring support to you? And second question to that, are you still looking for and open to brick and mortar in your local area, in the Sarasota area? Maybe answer both of those questions.
You want to share a little more about the creation of the center? I'm asking her. She has another
lens.
lens of how conscious calls either evolved or what we do. So I wanted to ask her if she could share a little bit about that, and I'll get into this more of the contact information in just a second. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did a great job, and John, you're familiar, so I appreciate your lens and your words around what we're doing. And I guess I would just add that, the vision and the mission, a lot of it also comes from our trauma-informed background of understanding how we can heal in community. And so bringing that social engagement piece, right? So much trauma is relational trauma. And so when we create a safe space that we can connect and witness one another in our process, in our healing, and be witnessed, it can be so powerful, and it's been such a powerful thing for my healing journey, and then my studies, understanding that, and so that's definitely something that has been an important component of what we are wanting to bring people together around, and really uniting in that heart space, right? Of allowing the space for our authenticity to shine through, and the unfolding of that and whatever it looks like. And some of the principles that we lean towards are compassion, meeting each other in a space of compassion, curiosity, and courage. I think it was you that shared that I always loved that fear is the butler that introduces you to courage.
Yes.
One really stuck with me, and so courage as an avenue of exploring our fears, right? And growing through that. I always say the magic is on the other side, right? And then choice, right? Always honoring that we're going to share what we believe in and what's worked for us, and we'd love to hear that from others. But uniting in a space of honoring that is for us to decide what we believe and what works for us, right? So that's another key component of the space and the community that we're creating, where yes, we're sharing our beliefs and we're sharing what has worked for us, but by no means does that mean that this is the way. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from everyone. We want to honor each other's choices and beliefs, and really see what can be illuminated when we can play in that space. And I love to share that, this spirituality or this journey, right, of self-discovery is kind of like trying on a jacket, right? Like you want it to fit like your arms, like get snug there, but you want to be able to move around. Like the same jacket that fits me is not gonna fit Shannon.
Yes.
And so like honoring that, right? That like we're all finding our jacket, right? We're finding our way, our own pace. So that's just another component of like what we are driven by. And then I think I would just add to the focus of nature and a lot of the plant medicine work that I've done and I'm continuing to do, and just harmonizing with the power of pure presence, right? And nature is one of our greatest teachers for that. One flower doesn't compare itself to the flower next to it, right? They just exist, and nature just adapts, and nature isn't judging, and nature has this frequency that is not of the human experience. And so we can commune and attune with nature and really illuminate the wisdom that's available within us and in our own our unique, authentic nature. So yeah, those are just a few other pieces I'll add. And then yeah, if you want to jump into
Well, the thing is that first of all, we always say that like it's about living the lifestyle. So we live it first before we can share it, right? And space that we've created, right, and the community that we've created is community led, community ran.
Hmm.
We have created and shared experiences that have worked for us, right? And we're inviting people in from the community to share what's worked for them.
Mhm.
And that we're not supposed to be the guru or the lead or the expert on any of this. We're just saying, hey, these are some few things that work for us. We're inviting the community in to share what's worked for them, and this is going to be community led, community ran,
Mhm.
and it's all about the integration and embody of.
Hmm.
Right. So we're excited to for the next step, the next chapter. We're totally open to whatever that looks like, with no attachment, non-judgment, with no expectations.
Mhm.
But we are looking for a new space, correct? Yep, and that's already in the manifestation of,
Yes,
and we're excited to just
Mhm.
explore and be curious and just observe.
that's
And that
awesome.
means that we're being witnessing not of everything else that's going around us, not just also of our own thoughts, but just of the of the breadcrumbs, the synchronicities, what's next, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
And consciouscause.org. You can find us there.
Mhm.
perfect.
We will be coming out with a public statement. It's coming out in the newspaper and a digital statement on kind of where we are and what's happening, and also an email blast will go out. So if anybody's interested in that, you can go to the consciouscause.org, contact us, or just simply if you already are inspired to be part of this and make an impact, you can go straight to the donation area and
Excellent.
help us out. But at this point right now, it's just like we're just open to what's next. And yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah, and so love at consciouscause.org is our email and our website, as Shannon said,
Awesome.
consciouscause.org.
love.
And the website's meant to like go on a journey and really dive into like who we are and what we're here to do and how we're trying to bring community together and how we are bringing community together and have been and how we want to continue. And as Shannon said, our vision is community led, community ran. So we're inviting, time, talent, and treasure, right? Whatever ways that you may or may not want to create an impact and join the movement that we're creating. We're open, and this is a co-creation. And so we're excited to learn and grow in this journey with others and really invite that like communal shamanism lens of like the community becomes the shaman
Hmm.
and through our energies and through our sharing and connecting and growing together, the wisdom comes through, right? Through that space. And so, yeah, we'll be sharing some communications and updates, and we are open to a new space, calling that in. But as you shared earlier, the space is still there. We're doing some work digitally on Facebook as well with a group called Sarasota Conscious Community.
Yeah.
And so Shannon is the moderator there. So we'll be sharing more events on that space as well. And what else? I think that those are the main ways to connect with us.
And that's consciouscause.org. And that's your main website. And you know what? I'll just say it right here publicly. It is a part of the vision of First Unity to be able to host and help host a similar wholeness center in our area for the same thing. And you guys are definitely on our radar. We've already talked about consultation from you, and we will be working on whatever that partnership looks like over the next several months. We are also in process at First Unity of, stabilizing, for lack of better terms, in a more permanent space. I don't want us to ever get comfortable wherever we are, so comfortable that we're not able to shift and move should we need to. But it is important for communities to have somewhere that they can at least call home, spiritual home for whatever season that may be. I'm so proud of you guys for whatever that's worth. I just am grateful to know you. I'm thankful for you being in my life. Thank you for sharing today. Those of you who are watching and you're tuned in at this moment, um, ask yourself, especially those who are business owners, those who are entrepreneurs yourself where you've been there, and maybe you've created a level of success for your business. Could you have used a partnership in your beginnings to help you financially? You see, but we don't really believe in money. We don't put our belief in money. We put our belief in the source. But currently, money is the currency that we use to light up the current for making our businesses work in terms of, can you plug a business in and expect it to light up without there being a current, electrical current? Not in the world we currently have constructed. So this is why we're reaching to you and saying, can you be a part of the conduit? Can you be a part of the wiring? Can you be the one who flips the switch? What part can you play to help conscious cause to move forward and be able to just turn their light on? They've already created the apparatus for the light. Now it's plugged in, and let's us together collectively, and you maybe as a business owner, come in and somebody who's successful, or you're a capitalist, maybe you've already just made a bunch of money. Maybe you're just filthy rich and you go, hey, I want to invest my money in something that's of value to help move the human experience forward in evolution and toward health and well-being. Maybe that's you. And if it's you, reach out to them and maybe turn the electricity on for them. Shannon, Kristen, thank you for your love. Thank you for hearing the call, even in the midst of your chaos and pain. Thank you for the willingness to go back into the recesses of your own injured self and excavate deep enough so that you could reach that well that never runs dry. Bring healing to yourself and bring healing to the world. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, we love you so much.
And, we always like to talk about foundation, right? Foundation that we get to build upon, and we want to make sure that we're very clear that one of our biggest pillars, that is our foundation, is first unity. Right? That's why we travel over an hour each way to get to you, to be part of this movement, and to listen to what the conduit has to be shown and shared through you is absolutely amazing. And we there's certain things that you can't do alone and you can't do without, and this is one of the things. So it's like, it's the community, it's the first unity, and those are the little things that really like keep us strong and in our faith moving forward, and this type of experiences that we're going through. It's amazing work. We appreciate you.
I love you guys so much. Everybody, thank you for being here. Please share this video to your page. God bless you all. Thank you. I love you guys.